Welcome to Lighting for Profits.
All light.
Powered by Emery Allen. Here is your host, Ryan Lee.
All light. Let's go. Guys, welcome to the number one landscape lighting show in Long Island, New York. That's right. Man, it's a great show, guys. I freaking love the landscape lighting industry. I love business. I love profits. I like talking about changing the world. So we got an awesome show lined up. If you're looking to start or grow a landscape lighting business, today's your day. Because we got Mr. Billy Coggins with Nightlight Landscape Lighting. And I'm telling you, I didn't realize it until I was just chatting with him before the show. It's been a while since he's been on the show. And I've gotten to know Billy pretty well. We chat regularly. And I'm like, dude, the last time you were on the show, like, we've got big news. Like, his business has completely transformed since he's been on the show. So I'm excited to have him on. We're going to be talking all things business, marketing, sales, all the fun stuff that I like to talk about. So listen, if you're looking to level up your game, this is the show for you. We're here to educate and motivate to help you dominate. And by the way, it's not too late. I'm going to be in Raleigh, North Carolina tomorrow night. So if you can make it, the thing starts tomorrow night. Thursday, Friday is the real deal, 17th and 18th. But Jimmy Tompkins with Lights for Decorators puts on his annual conference, and you should be there because we're going to geek out on all things business, all things outdoor lighting, whether it's landscape lighting, permanent lighting, or holiday lighting. I want to see you there. So if you need information, just shoot me a DM and we can get you the link and all the stuff. It's free. Jimmy does free events. He's basically putting me out of business. So I definitely hope you'll be there. I've limited my schedule. I'm literally only going to like a couple things every year, and this is one of those. So that's how much I believe in it. I want to see you there. So again, guys, in just a few minutes, we got Billy Coggins, the founder of Nightlight Landscape Lighting, and he is doing some big things, and I'm excited to have him on. Before we have him on, I want to share something with you. So I shared this earlier in the year. Maybe I've shared it a lot just because it is pretty exciting for me. This year, I challenged the Lighting Legends group to do this thing called the Misogi. And the Misogi is something I just saw online. I saw it on like Instagram or something like that. And I started looking into it. I'm like, hey, this is kind of cool. And basically, I don't even know if this is real. Like, I don't know if Japanese people do this or if an American said that Japanese people do this, but there's this Misogi thing. And it's basically like you pick this badass thing that you want to do once a year and something challenging, something you want to do that's going to push you to grow in a certain way in your life, right? And it could be maybe you want to stop smoking. Right? Maybe you want to start smoking. Maybe you want to pick up some bad habits. Well, for me, fitness has kind of been this thing that I've flirted with for the last couple of years. And I needed something to just push me over the edge because I don't want to go work out in a gym. I don't want to go do, I don't even know the names of this stuff. I don't want to go wrestle around with grown, sweaty men. Like, it's just not my thing. Right. So one of my friends challenged me, said, hey, why don't you come do these Spartan races with us? And I had heard of a Spartan race, but I kind of looked into it. And I decided, okay, my Misogi for the year is I'm going to do the trifecta. Okay. And the trifecta is basically when you run a 5K, a 10K, and a 21K Spartan race, which comes with like obstacles and cool, like manly stuff. When you do that in a calendar year, you earn the trifecta. And basically, again, the Misogi should be something pretty challenging. Like there's a pretty good chance, like a 50% chance or more that you're going to fail. And truly, I thought, I could probably do a 5K. I think I can do the 10K, but man, being able to do the 21K, like there's a really high chance, probably greater than 50% that I'm going to fail. So I signed up for all the races. I paid for it in advance. And what's pretty cool is this weekend, just a few days ago, I actually completed my Spartan trifecta. So give it up for me. Give it up for me. It was a really cool feeling for like a few seconds because I was mostly in pain. And the medal really wasn't the reward. The real win was really who I became in the process. And this is just a short period of time. I mean, I started like running and training. I think it was in December. And the reason I'm telling you this is because there's all these cool comparison and analogies. Listen, when you're training and running hundreds of miles, all I can think about is business. And I'm thinking of all these, tools and stuff that I'm developing and stuff like that. So business is like this endurance sport. Like most of us want quick wins, and I can appreciate that. I would love to be able to just like invest $1,000 and make 10,000, but in reality, that's not usually what happens. I want to hire someone and just have them be a natural leader. I want to hire them to be the sales designer or whatever, but like it doesn't always happen like that. And so Whoever can stick around the longest in business is usually going to win. So why is it that some business owners seem to succeed effortlessly while others struggle to survive? And this is what I learned through this Misogi, through this Spartan trifecta. So in April, I completed my first one. It was a 10K in San Diego. Then a few weeks ago in Montana, I did the 5K. And then again, just this past weekend, I did the 21K. Now, 21K, if you don't know what that means, that's a half marathon, 13 miles. They told me, and I didn't know this when I bought the ticket, that it was going to be 3,000 vertical feet. Now, 3,000 feet's a freaking lot. And so I was like training. There's a mountain right by my house. I would like run up and down the mountain, and I thought I was going to be good. Well, when you get to the race, I realized, and I had my watch on, it was more than 3,000 feet, and it wasn't a lot of running. It was like climbing up straight mountain, and people were like they trained for this, and I trained for it the wrong way. I ran instead of worked out with my legs. I don't like doing squats. I don't like doing that stuff. But I ended up running because I had some penalties of some obstacles I couldn't do. On Saturday, I ran 14 and a half miles, 4,300 vertical feet, 4,300 feet up and down. It was crazy. So I want to share a few things that I took away that I really am going to apply to my business, and I hope you'll apply it to yours as well. So number one is this: like it's not about the destination. Like when I completed the trifecta, I mean, it felt good for like 30 seconds. And then it's like, now what? I have a medal that no one cares about. Like not even my kids. My kids are old enough now where they don't even care about this stuff. And so it's more about the person that I've become, the discipline, the identity shift, the person that you become along the way. And now, I can run a few miles without really even thinking. It's pretty easy. I drink a ton more water than I used to. I'm definitely stronger than I used to be. And I must have ran hundreds of miles all to train for this 13-mile race, right? And so you think about when I measure backwards and I go, wow, look who I used to be in terms of health and fitness and all this stuff. Like I've grown so much in just this short period of time. Now, if I measure forward, like the gap in the gain, it's like, dang, yeah, I got a long ways to go. I got like 62 out of 69 in the elite class, which I probably shouldn't be racing in the elite class anyway, but still, like if I compare myself to where I want to be, like I have a long way to go, but I look back, I'm like, holy freaking cow. Like I can't believe I can do certain things that I couldn't do literally like weeks ago, months ago. So that's the first thing. Enjoy the journey, guys. Like most of us are unsatisfied because we don't have $1 million business yet, or a $5 million business, or a $10 million business. I'm telling you, you're going to get there and it's just a check. It's like, cool, I did it. Like enjoy the journey. Make sure that you're enjoying every single day, that you're doing this for the right reasons. Number two, second thing I learned is really like someone else's race is not yours. Okay. So stop comparing yourself to other people's race and their success. There was people like walking, hiking next to me, whatever, doing obstacles next to me, and you kind of hear them talking. They do dozens of Spartan races a year. So it's fair to say that they're probably in better shape than me. They're probably stronger than me. Like they know what to expect. They've practiced the obstacles. Like they have better training. Like they know this. So measuring up to them is a complete waste of time, and it's going to put you in a depressed state. If you haven't read the book Gap in the Gain, highly, highly recommend. And it's going to teach you to measure backwards. And pretty much all of us at any level in our life, we can measure backwards and see, wow, a year from now, like a year ago, like we're doing pretty good. And if not, then that's where you need to improve. And then the third thing is, you might think it looks easier for some people to run a business because it is. Because you know what? When I started the Spartan race, there was obstacles that I was like, holy cow, like this is freaking hard. Like, how are you supposed to do this? And I'd never done the obstacle. And so when I did it, I made it look extremely difficult or impossible. Like I failed. Okay. Two obstacles come to mind. Number one, there's a spear throw. You're standing 25 feet back. You throw a spear, you get one toss. And if you hit it, you move on. If not, your penalty is 30 burpees. Now, again, if you're in not as good a shape like I am, 30 burpees, especially mid-race, is going to take you a long time. It's not like you can just bust out 30 burpees in a couple minutes, okay? So literally one obstacle could take 10 seconds. I mean, how long does it take to throw the spear? It could take 10 seconds versus 10 plus minutes. Like from a percentage standpoint, that's like 1,000 times longer, right? And so that's how business is. Sometimes you look at someone, you're like, man, like they make it look so easy. It's because it is. Like they prepared. They worked out, they got stronger, they practiced, they learned strategy, they learned technique, they learned how to do these things. So they can step up to the platform, throw the spear, and they're done in 10 seconds. While you're over here dicking around and it's taking you forever and you can't figure it out. Okay. Because it can be easy when you understand the fundamentals, when you do the things right. The second one was the rope climb. Like I literally YouTubed how to climb a rope the night before my first race. And I was like, okay, he wraps his leg, does the thing, whatever. I don't know. I'll try that. Well, I couldn't do it. I mean, I started going up. I kind of knew it, but then I got scared. I'm like, well, what happens when I get up there and I can't get down? Right. So I did not complete the rope climb my first race. Now I put a rope in my shop and I climb the thing, and it's easy. Like it literally takes like 30 seconds instead of like doing the penalty lap and now running extra mileage. And I'm telling you guys, this is how business is. Most people will not stay in the game long enough. They'll not practice it long enough. They'll try it one time, like, oh man, it's too hard. That's because you tried it one time. Like, you have to practice. You have to get stronger. You have to get better. And then all of a sudden, you have an unfair advantage. I'm telling you, these business owners that make it look easy, it is because it is. Not everything, but certain things are easy for them. They truly do have an unfair advantage. And I'm not going to say I have an unfair advantage with the Spartan yet, because again, I got a long ways to go. But certain obstacles, like, I fly through and people are like, wow, how do you do that? And I'm like, well, watch YouTube videos. But truly, we can learn a lot from others, right? I sat there and I watched people do the obstacle. I'm like, okay, that's how you do it, right? And these guys fly through these things. And then the last thing is really, like I said, the medal isn't the goal. I mean, I got these like medals that cost me like $150 or whatever it is to do the race. The medal's not the goal. The mastery is. And really the only way to get there is through the mud, through the burpees, through the reps. Like, you got to put in the time. Yes, there are cheat codes. Yes, there are fast passes. Okay. And that's why you join communities, Landscape Lighting Secrets. But doesn't matter what, like, as long as you're with a community and as long as you're learning from people that have already gone ahead of you, you're ridiculous to not take them up on that offer to help you. So all this to say, I want you guys to define your trajectory. Like, where is it that you're going? Okay. Marry the process, divorce the results. And that just means, like, don't worry about your time. Like, I completed this last Spartan, guys. It took me over 5 hours. It was 5 hours, 12 minutes of constant energy. And honestly, my legs cramped up. I did a poor performance. I mentally was there. I was ready to go. Like, I had endurance left, but my muscles cramped, and I literally had to stop on the mountain for like 20 minutes at a time, waiting for them to like uncramp so I could move. But doesn't matter. Like, marry the process, divorce the results. Yes, I'm upset. I wish I could have done a faster time. I thought I was going to do it in 4 hours. It took me an hour longer than I thought. But I'm telling you, I'm married to the process. Like, I'm taking a few days off, but I'm going to continue running. I'm going to continue lifting. I'm going to continue to get stronger. I've now basically like brought in this new discipline into my life, and it's addicting. Like, it feels really, really good. So once you define your trajectory, where you're going, why you want it, then you can reverse engineer it. Like, how are you going to get there? Who do you need on your team to help you get there? And then after that, it just honestly becomes this game of disciplined action. Once you have the pieces in place, you know where you're going. It might take you longer. It might take you 5 hours, and when you want it to be 4 hours. It might take you 5 years when you want it in 3. But if you stay disciplined, you can do this, which is why I love the phrase, and I'll leave it with you now: keep moving forward. So it was a good time, guys. I'm probably going to keep talking about it a lot because it was just a great experience. And I'm probably going to invite a bunch of you guys to come do some Spartans with me next year. So, hey, listen, have you ever felt like your lighting projects are missing that special touch? Well, guess what? The Scout Pro from Emery Allen might just be what you need. This compact stone tumbled forged brass fixture is perfect for those subtle lighting applications. Perfect for small spaces. Think under handrails, with decking, or nestled in flower pots. Despite its size, it packs a punch with 196 lumens and a high CRI of 92, ensuring vibrant and accurate color rendering. And with its IP68 rating, it's ready for any weather. Enhance your installations with the Scout Pro and see the difference. If you're interested, just email Tom G at emeryallen.com. And don't forget to mention that you heard about him here on Lighting for Profits. He'll hook you up with that discounted contractor pricing. Just email Tom G at emeryallen.com. All right, guys. Well, I know why I came here today. I think it's the same reason you did too. So let's get our guest coming on. You guys ready? Hope so. Welcome to the show, Mr. Billy Coggins. What's up, Billy?
What's going on, guys?
Man, I actually do feel guilty because I was like, wait, when was the last time you were on the show? It was a year and a half ago.
Yeah, November 2023. Feels like a lifetime ago.
I know. I do feel bad. I'm like, wait, is that long ago? So it's been fun getting to know you. I was kind of reminiscing how long we've known each other. It's at least 4 years, maybe 5 years, right?
Yeah, coming up on 4 years. I started with you in September of 21.
Okay.
Yeah. And
it-
remember that first phone call?
You do?
Yeah, of course.
Was it good or
I
bad?
mean, no, it was great. I mean, so the first time that really I feel like got me interested in your program and everything. Greg Matthews had done the podcast right before you, and he was talking about like his massive projects and everything. And I was stuck here in Long Island thinking that a 50 light install was the
Massive.
biggest and baddest thing that you could do. And that just opened my eyes, made me realize like I've got to meet more people. I've got to get out there and see what's really going on in this industry and see what the possibilities are. And that kicked it off. That was everything.
That's awesome, man. Well, it's really cool because I remember, I don't know, I probably don't remember our specific first phone call, but I could probably, like, if we started talking about it, I'd be like, oh yeah, we did say that or whatever. But I get on these calls with people, and I don't do it a lot anymore, but we get on these calls and like I'm really excited. Like when I meet someone like you, I'm like, man, these guys are going to do so good, and I feel that almost about everybody. Otherwise, I'd be like, hey, it's not a good fit. You should go do this or whatever. But for
Right.
some reason, like we don't have 100% Billy Coggins success rate. Like, what do you think that you're doing different than maybe some of the other people who join Landscape Lighting Secrets, or or come into the Facebook groups or whatever, and why do you get traction and they don't?
I mean, there's nothing special about me, that's for sure. I'm not the best lighting designer in the world. I'm not the best salesperson in the world, the best at marketing. Um, what I'm the best at, I feel like, is just like bringing a competitive spirit to anything that I do that will drive me to, new heights every year. And so it's really just a culmination of trying to wake up every day and being 1% better than I was the day before. And so that means getting uncomfortable. We talk about that so much. Hiring that office manager when I didn't want to. I remember just like dreading having to spend that money when I didn't feel like I could afford it, and doing that. Getting my office building. Like last time we spoke on this podcast, I didn't have an office space. And so, doing that, and everyone's like, why do you need that? You don't need that. And I was like, well, it's going to help me propel the business because the people that I bring in here and interview to come work for me, we're going to have a nicer space to be able to, sit down, actually have a table to have meetings at, somewhere we could fit a whiteboard and do whiteboarding sessions and have inventory in the shop. And so I didn't need it, but I knew that it was necessary. And so like just continuing to make sure that you're pushing yourself to uncomfortable heights. And we're continuing to do that this year with the location that we opened in Boston. And, that was scary. It was, definitely frightening. Like I don't have every single thing figured out in business. We're learning, along the way, digging ourselves a hole and climbing our way out of it, and just making sure that every day, we continue to get better.
That's a solid perspective. I think a lot of it has to do with your competitive background. You got your wrestling background. I think if someone's competitive, they're going to find a way to win in business too. It might not be pretty. It might not be, the way they want it to happen or something like that. So I think that's huge. The other thing you mentioned, and I think this is so important. This is why I'm such a proponent of joining communities. And, selfishly, I talk about Landscape Lighting Secrets, but even if it's not that, like whatever it is. And again, this is coming from someone who 6 years ago was not pro community. I was pro like do everything on my own. But this is so important because our family, our friends, our local people, they're gonna give their resistance. They're gonna say,
Hmm.
"What? You don't need a showroom. You don't need an office. Like, why are you doing this? You're gonna go to a second location. You're not even ready. You don't even know what you're doing, right?" And they're not doing it because they're evil. They're doing it because they love you, because
Right.
they're trying to protect you, and they think that you have your best interest. But when you join these communities of people who can challenge you the other way and say, "Hey, what if you did this? What if you did that?" I just think it's so important because that's going to get you out of your family wants you to stay comfortable,
Hmm.
because if Billy goes and does this, and your friends, especially your friends, are like, well, if he's successful, what does that say about me?
Right. Yeah, and it was interesting because before Boston, a lot of the decisions that I made, I felt like I did get a lot of pushback from family and friends, and just kind of like questioning, like, are you sure that you're ready to make these kind of moves? And it's interesting. I feel like now I have more of a proof of concept that what I am doing is working. The investments that I've made into the business have paid off up until this point. And so when I went to make this move to Boston, I had so much support that I wasn't even like prepared to accept. My wife couldn't have been more supportive. She knew that this was going to take me away potentially from the family more, and it was a big endeavor. I was investing into this. My dad, who I've talked about a lot, on this podcast prior, he was one of the biggest proponents of, me, you don't need the warehouse. I was working out of his shop, but like once again with the Boston thing, it's like, go get it. You can do it. Everything that you've done so far to this point has paid off for you. Not everything, but most things. And so, and then like even friends are like, wow, that's amazing. You're going to kill it up there. I can't
That's
wait to
cool.
watch you grow. And so it was really cool to see everyone just kind of start to gain momentum behind me. Like my group friends and family that I have behind me just really like keep pushing me and believe in what we're doing here at Nightlight.
That's awesome. I did forget to ask you, I forget because we do talk so often, but would you just do like a quick intro of yourself? I know you're on the show already and stuff, but
Yeah.
uh, who is Billy Coggins in Nightlight?
Yep. So I'm a husband to my wife, Taylor. Couldn't do any of this without her. So supportive. A father of two boys, 1 and 2 years old, Carter and Crew. And so that's been a big change in my life, obviously, in the last couple of years. And uh, super motivating, also motivating to like delegate more and get more time with them. And so it pushes you in multiple different ways. I'm a wrestler, graduated from the University of Virginia in 2015, wrestled there for 5 years. And, I'm really family oriented. I like to be home with my family. I like to do things with them. And I'm a business owner. So,
Love it, man. Well, a lot has changed in the last couple of years for you, both personally and professionally, uh, with wife and kids and
yeah.
office space, office manager. Um, and I like that you mentioned that because I think you've done a good job with the question I like to propose is what has to be true. So, like, if I want to be a really good husband and I want to be a good dad and I want to be successful in a business, like what has to be true? And I feel like you've done a good job with that. Where did you start in terms of like growing your business? What were some of the first more difficult moves for you?
Yeah, when I started my business, I didn't have anyone that relied on me. Really, I was single. I was like 25 years old. If I messed up or if I had to work really long hours or whatnot, I could just do it. There was no one I needed to come home to. But now, obviously, being able to build out my team, and it's something I really want to talk about, was just how reliable my team has been for the past couple of years. Having the same installation guys for 3 years in a row that they've just stuck with me, and I've preached the vision of what we're going to do in this company to them, and they've been ride or die. And then I have my office manager, so it's allowed me to free up some of my time. But obviously now, as I start to expand and I have more mountains to climb, I feel like we're just getting started. There's going to be times where I do have to invest a lot more time back into the business. And so I'm ready for that, and the family's ready for that. But just trying to keep an even balance as much as possible when you can, because it can get out of hand quick if you let it.
So what's it been like? You hired Denise, and I do remember, and this isn't just unique to you. Pretty much everyone that I work with, and when I was doing it, it was the same way. I'm like, man, I can't afford an office manager, because if I get an office manager, now I got to get a space for them to work. And like the numbers start adding up quick. And you're like, can I afford this? What was that like? What has that experience been like, hiring her and going through the whole process of that?
Well, it's been life changing, to be honest with you. The return on my time has been much more valuable than the expense that went into hiring someone for that position. Um, there's a lot of things in business that I didn't necessarily know if it was going to work out. I knew I had to do that at some point, but I didn't know if I was ready. And then the same thing with the marketing stuff, right? Like, hiring Patio SEO to do my marketing stuff on retainer for, it's not cheap. But I made that move and we rebranded the company, and that was a big thing. And we started creating more content. And we went on Facebook and all those things. And I didn't, you don't know if all this stuff is going to work out. You're just taking an educated guess based on market research and what has worked for other people's, companies in the past, whether it be home service companies or other people with lighting companies. And so these are all just, you're making educated decisions and you're trying to get the biggest return on your time and on your investment into that position in the company.
Yeah, I think this is such a solid point. Like most people, if they're not where they want to be, you can almost reverse engineer it and find out why they're not succeeding. And it comes
Right.
down to the ability to take risk.
Yeah.
Almost everybody. They're like, I can't afford it, and now's not the right time, and they make all these excuses. At some point, you got to take the risk.
And the other thing too is just go sell more jobs. Reverse engineer how much your business has to make in order to be able to be profitable with these certain members in your company, right? And so if I know I'm paying someone X and I still want to be running on a 25% net profit, like I know I might have to go sell another $400,000 this year to stay where I want to be, right? And so that's where that competitive nature comes in, where like if I set my mind to like a revenue number, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get to that revenue number so that way I can stay profitable. There is no conceding to failure in my eyes. So
How long are you willing to give something a shot, whether it's hiring a new team member? I mean, you hired a new office manager, you're promoting your internal guys, you hired this marketing company.
yes.
How long do you let something ride? Because it's everything that you've talked about, I know wasn't a flip of a switch and was just
No.
straight cash. Like, oh my gosh, return on investment, baby. It
Yep.
was difficult. So how long do you let these things ride until you determine to cut them or double down?
Yeah, I mean, I've made some big mistakes too. Bringing on certain people in the organization that I was willing to pay a lot of money that I thought was going to be transformative, and those were learning moments. And some of them lasted a little bit longer than they should have. 3-4 months in the company where I was continuing to pay them and training them and really nurturing them. And at some point, you have to cut your losses. And so that has happened multiple times over the last couple of years. I don't regret it for a second, to be honest with you. That extra X number of dollars in the bank account, while I wish it didn't happen, it was a lesson learned, and I'll use that moving forward because I'm young in business. Like I have plenty more mistakes to make. And so if I can get through these mistakes quicker, then I know I'm going to be able to learn much faster. And so, don't want to make mistakes, but when they happen, you use them as a lesson.
Yeah. That's a huge thing. That's one thing that it took me a long time to learn that. And I was so afraid to make an investment in time or money into something, because if it doesn't work, then it's a waste of money. Sometimes it takes you 3 months to make the
Yep.
amount of money lost. But then when you realize, well, that's actually just an investment in knowing what not to do next time or whatever it is, it's easier to swallow. So you can give you the courage to make the investment the next time.
Yep. 100%.
So, what's interesting about your business is I feel like, do you remember when COVID first happened, like the first panic mode of like that first month or two?
Yeah.
Everyone was like, crap, dude, what are we going to do? My wife included, like, what's going to happen? Does this mean like no one's going to hire you or whatever? Like, I don't know. I'm not see the future, but I don't freak out anymore, because I'm like you. I'm like, no, their failure is not an option. If I have to pivot, if I have to try something else, like we're not going homeless,
Right.
Um, but everyone like really did well in especially the landscape lighting industry, any home improvement, anything like that. But everyone did really well. People were riding big waves, big numbers, big growth. But then what I noticed is the last, especially this year and the last part of last year, people weren't feeling that wave as much anymore. And people are like,
Yeah.
hold on, maybe I don't have my marketing dialed in. Maybe I'm not as good at sales as I thought. Maybe, they start questioning everything. But you are on the up and up. So what are you doing to put yourself in this position where you're actually growing, where a lot of other companies around the US are struggling for leads, struggling for sales, and kind of wondering what their future looks like?
Yeah, I think that it's multifaceted. Number one, just for like, I don't, this isn't all rainbows, right? I mean, I've been honest with you, and like June was a tough month for us. It was like the worst June I've had in 3 or 4 years. But then first couple days of July, like we're gonna have a record July, right? And so it's just about like being consistent, not getting too high, not getting too low, making sure like you're focusing on inputs, not outputs. Like if you keep doing what you know is gonna make you successful, just stay on that path. And so that's really been like the foundation of it. The marketing end of the business, I never really had a true plan, like marketing plan, a marketing budget. What were we going to spend? What was going to be the return on that investment? And then when I brought on my marketing team, so I hired a fractional CMO service, and so they handle all of my basically my content creation, Facebook, Instagram ads, Google ads, SEO, GMB, all the stuff that is involved in that marketing mix. And just stayed really consistent with them. I was going to bring someone in house originally because I was just frustrated with not being able to have the communication I needed with my marketing team when I was with an agency or whatever the case may be. And so because I had fired like 4 of them in the past, because I want to be in constant contact with the marketing team. What's working? What do we need to change? Like how do we really dial this thing in? So I started working with them. They basically told me, listen, you provide an unbelievable service. Your landscape lighting designs and the way you service your clients are top notch, but nobody knows about you. Like it does not matter how good you are at landscape lighting if no one knows to call you about landscape lighting. And so James at Patio SEO was like, you need to get in front of people and you need to put your face on camera. You need to put it all on the line. Like, I don't care that you don't want to be filmed, because I didn't want to be filmed at first. You need to be standing in front of a camera and you need to be educating the market on who you are, what landscape lighting is, how it's supposed to be done, and the proper way to do it. And so it's been about a year and a half now of just like consistently filming content. I'm not the most well-spoken. I make mistakes. It doesn't have to be perfect, but progress over perfection, 100%. Just film, film, film. And so that's been huge for me. And I wouldn't be in the position I am right now if I didn't start doing that when I did, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I hope James doesn't listen to this because I don't want to make his head any bigger than it already is, but he really does know his stuff.
At the end of the day, like with any like people joining your program too, right? You have to do what your coach or the CMO is telling you to do. And so a lot of people will join these programs or join like with James or whatever the case may be, and they might not see as much success because they didn't buy in 100% into what they're preaching. And so I just knew like if I was going to make this investment, because it was expensive at the time for me, that I was just going to do whatever he told me to do. And so I've tried to do that as much as possible, and it's definitely paid off. The other thing too that I wanted to just like touch on was just having this true like belief in what we do is bringing value to the market and the clients that we serve. And it was huge for me to go to Illy and go back as a mentor and not so much try to sell landscape lighting, but bring my passion into landscape lighting with clients and advise them on how great their property could look when it's done properly. And so that increased my average ticket after I went to Illy. It 3x my average ticket from 2023 to 2025 because after you go to Illy, now I'm putting 18 lights on this one tree instead of 2 like maybe I had would have been doing beforehand. But and I don't have to sell the client on those 18 lights. They don't even know that there's 18 lights going on that tree. I'm just telling them, listen, this is how I'm going to light this tree, and it's going to be beautiful, and it deserves to be lit like this. And so that was huge too, because the average ticket and what we're doing has really driven our sales up a lot.
Yeah, I do want to get to that. I kind of want to finish marketing a little bit, and then I do want to talk about kind of your strategy and what you've done to increase your average ticket. A couple of things you touched on, like May, you had a great month. June,
Yep.
it's like, what happened, Billy? You go on vacation?
Yeah.
It really was terrible. But the thing is, it doesn't mean that you weren't on vacation. You were still doing the inputs. You were still doing all those things. And then what happened is they paid off in July. So now you're going to have this, record breaking July and all that. But most people overreact for both ways. Like, oh, May was good. Let me turn off marketing because I don't even know how we're going to handle all this work. And turns out you didn't turn off your marketing and it still was slow. So can you imagine if you did turn off your marketing, right? And so I think just staying consistent is a great tip that you shared. Talk a little bit about putting yourself out there. I mean, personal branding is taking over. It's going to be the thing over the next 5 to 10 years. I think, yeah, there's business branding and stuff, but people want to buy from people, especially with AI coming out more and more and just everything else. Is there any tips you'd share there? I mean, you said progress over perfection, but any other tips on just getting out there, filming content, filming yourself, speaking your mind, developing your voice?
Yeah. I don't mind public speaking. I don't mind getting in front of someone and talking at all, whether it be, large groups and whatnot. But sometimes, that ADHD will kick in and I can go on a rant, multiple different directions. So I might need some edits and whatnot in there. So I wouldn't say I'm the person to like model, like how to have an elevator speech on social media. But what I'll just say is just be authentic and be yourself. And like people want to know people want to buy from people that they know, like, and trust, right? It's like the oldest saying in the book. And so if you're authentic and you're Billy when you're on Instagram and you're on Facebook and you're posting these stories and you're posting these ads, when you show up to the house, it doesn't take 30 minutes for them to get to know you. After 3 minutes of talking to you, they've already listened to your videos for 30 minutes to an hour while they've been learning about your company. And so building rapport with the clients at that point, half the battle is done. And so that's been super helpful. And so, like I said, just be yourself and put yourself out there. And it'll bring in more than just clients. It'll bring in relationships with other companies to do business with, whether it be referral partners. It even helped me make my expansion to Boston, was putting myself out there on Instagram. And so I just think it's been transformative for the way that my business is run.
Very cool. Yeah. I mean, if you guys aren't taking notes, I don't know what to say. So what role has your rebrand? I think, was it last year that you kind of did the mini rebrand for Nightlight?
Yep, 2024.
So what role has that had on some of the success you're having as well?
Yeah, we just wanted to elevate the brand to more of a luxury type service. And so when people visited our website or saw the Mercedes Sprinter truck that's wrapped, just super, super clean, just the logo on the side and huge font. I saw the companies that are out in the Hamptons and other people that are super successful with high-end clients on Long Island. It's very minimalistic. And so I just wanted to create this brand that just felt rich and it felt like luxury. I think it's made a big impact. It's really hard to measure the value of the brand because it just kind of gets filtered through everything else that you do. So it's hard to attribute it to any, particular number, but I have to imagine that it's played a major part in our ability to continue to scale through these tougher years.
Yeah, I mean, just from an outsider perspective, I mean, I don't even see all your social media stuff, but the stuff I see, the way you are interacting with the audience on there and your brand and all that, there's a huge difference. If I'm sure if someone went back to your profile,
Yeah.
3 years ago, like Billy 1.0 to Billy 2.0 and Nightlight 2.0, like it's a huge difference. Your terminology, the way you speak, how you speak. I know
Yeah.
Illy, that was a huge influence on me as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I think that's awesome, man. Hey,
Yeah.
do you want to do my lightning round? Quick hit controversials.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to the lightning round, actually.
Yeah, we just started.
Do
I
it.
think it's really cool. So I think we should do this. We're trying to, get some controversial subjects here. So, all right, we're gonna play lightning round. Quick hit controversials with Billy Coggins.
Let's go.
All right, so integrated fixtures or drop-ins?
Modular.
Okay, nice. Design first or functionality first? What's more important?
Functionality.
Homeowners who ask for RGBW, tasteful or tacky?
It's a personal preference, but I'll say tasteful for the one that, people that ask for it. If they like it, it's fine.
Man, so I can just tell people like, oh, what did he just say? Controversial.
Sorry, Illy.
Sorry, Italy. Love you, Jan.
Yeah.
Do most lighting contractors overcomplicate the design process?
No, I would say they undercomplicate it. It needs to be more detailed.
Okay. Nighttime demos, secret sauce or waste of time?
Secret sauce when you're first starting, waste of time if you have an established portfolio.
Would you ever let a client dictate the fixture layout?
No.
Bigger sin, exposed wire or crooked path lights?
Exposed wire.
Oh, so you're fine with crooked path lights. Okay. Making sure.
They won't work if their wire's cut anyway, so
It's just exposed. It's not cut.
it's going to get cut.
No, because you can see the wire, so it won't get cut.
Oh, maybe I'm just going to leave all my wire exposed then.
Yeah, it's just, duh. Why would you bury it?
You
I
don't
actually
have
had
that
a
in your
client-
program.
No, but I had a client that told me that. They're like, they showed me this client proposal. They said, so do you bury your wire? I'm like, absolutely. And they're like, yeah, they said it was better not to because then that way you wouldn't cut it. And I'm like, it's freaking genius.
Denise, change your process.
I know. Why are we doing this? What's more important, being a better designer or being a better salesperson?
Salesperson.
Jan is going to break up with you.
You can't sell your design if you can't sell it. So can't install it.
Should contractors ever discount to win a job?
I would say negotiations are healthy, but everyone has to win.
And would you rather close fewer jobs at higher margins or more jobs at lower margins?
Fewer jobs at higher margins.
Do you sell the client what they want or what they need?
It's got to be, the answer's got to be both, right? That one's got to be both.
It's quick hit controversials. It can be whatever you want.
Yeah, I'm going to go with both.
Educate the client or just give them what they ask for?
Educate the client.
Would you rather install an average design at a killer margin or a masterpiece that barely breaks even?
A masterpiece that barely breaks even.
Nice. Wow. What closes? Well, if you had to do that every week.
No, not every week.
Okay.
But if you can do that to build your portfolio and have, a portfolio to help you grow your business, it's worth it.
All right. What closes more deals, stunning photos or a confident pitch?
Photos. To show me, don't tell me business.
Which wins more jobs, polished branding or personal referrals?
Referrals.
Is it better to be the best designer in town or the most visible online? I think you already answered that.
If they don't know who you are, it doesn't matter how good you are at designing.
Yeah, you actually did say that earlier.
Yeah.
And then the last one, are most lighting businesses really designers or just glorified installers?
Most are glorified installers.
Most. Yeah. All right, guys, that was awesome. Quick hit controversials with Billy. So hopefully we generated some haters for you out there.
That was
Well
a long one. There was a lot of questions. You
I
loaded me
know.
up.
I kept coming up with some. I was using Chat GPT, so but I was like, more.
Let's try to get everyone to hate Billy.
Yeah, I was like, come on. Yeah, some of them were more controversial than others, so I was like, oh, this is a good one. This fits Billy. I want to know the answer that Billy would say. I think most of those I would have guessed, but a couple of them I was a little surprised.
Which one?
I don't know. I didn't take notes. Probably the crooked path lights Billy over here.
That one's tough.
I'm just kidding. All right, well, we'll get back into it. I still have a lot of things I want to go over. So you're kicking butt this year. Things are going good. Not everything's perfect.
Yep.
You decided at some point, I think it was last year, that you're like, okay, I'm not going to do holiday lighting anymore. What spurred that?
Just a lack of passion for it, to be honest, and an increase in passion for outdoor lighting. And so, in addition to that, is my confidence in our ability to generate leads throughout that season in landscape lighting. And so I knew if I could replace November and December with great landscape lighting projects, while they might not be reoccurring, and that's a great part about holiday lighting is having that reoccurring revenue. I'd still rather do landscape lighting during those months and have those months with my family and not want to, sleep under a bridge. I just didn't enjoy it. I never enjoyed it from the beginning. I felt like it was always a necessary evil. And I just got to that point where I just wanted to get out of it. And for the people that do it really well, that have great systems and and all that's like I kind of ran it like a half-ass company, to be honest. Like that part of the business, I just did not enjoy it. I didn't put the effort into it that I needed to, and I don't like doing things without like my full passion behind it. So it was just time to kind of hang it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I think it's going to help you stay focused. And I mean, it's not that you've gotten there this year, but I think just knowing that you don't have to do that, you've got plans to do other things. So, which is cool.
Yeah. Yep.
So this year's doing good, man. I mean, you've got a lot of things going good for you. Your sales are up. Can we talk a little bit? You mentioned how your average ticket's up.
Yeah.
What are the factors that have gone into that? I mean, your sales are up, your average ticket's up. Talk
Yeah.
about that a little bit.
So just being super design focused, and making sure that you're not sacrificing your design on a property just to like land a job. Where in the past, maybe if I didn't have a backlog of jobs for 3 or 4 weeks, I might, let's sacrifice the design to get the job, and now that job goes from a $20,000 project down to a $12,000 project. We're able to pick and choose a little bit more on the projects that we want to take on with people that I can feel appreciate what we're about to do on their property for them. And then the other ones, I'm training one of my service technicians to handle, maybe more of the systematic cookie cutter projects. And so his sales ability is increasing. He's getting experience talking of being client facing. And so that's been good. So we've been pushing that over to him a little bit. And I've just been really focusing more so on these larger jobs that I can bring my passion to. And I feel like we can really portray our true ability onto these properties.
Well, earlier when I was doing my little monologue thing, it's like, it really is easier. The bigger you get, the more business experience you have, because you can say no to certain things. And it's like, you have the ability because you're booked out 6 weeks.
Yeah.
But you remember being that guy where you're like, dude, we don't have any work tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Would you do you regret that? Like, what would you tell the person listening? That's like, well, that's fine for you, but like, I got to take, if I gave them a $20,000 proposal and they were just willing to give me 10, I would take that. Would you tell them to do that, or would you tell them a different strategy?
No, I would definitely tell them to do it. I'm not someone that's like, there's been times this year that someone has like cut the proposal from 150 fixtures down to 50 fixtures, right? But we've designed one area on their property at this point. Like
Yeah.
I'm over the point of spreading 50 fixtures out through an entire property at where I had 3 times that many on my design, After showing them the portfolio of the this is where we get into trouble with this, is because you've set an expectation.
Yeah.
When you show them the portfolio, you set an expectation. And now you agreed to cut that into a third and still do the project. I don't care how many times you try to tell them that this is not like the real full potential design. If you go forward with that project, they're thinking portfolio, that's what I saw, that's what I'm going to experience in my property. And it's just not possible. And so, just educating them on like, listen, this is how we're going to do this. We're going to cut this project into a third. What is the biggest priority? Let's take care of that first. We're going to make it unbelievable, just like what you saw in the portfolio. And then next year, we'll move on from there.
That's huge. I think, yeah, separating it into phases is the solution. I remember we had a lady who like was refusing to pay small project, $5,000 or $10,000. Can't remember the exact number. My designer at the time was having a hard time collecting. And so I go over to her house, meet with her, actually decent lady, but that's one thing she said. She goes, it just doesn't look very good. I mean, do you agree? Like, it doesn't look like the stuff that you guys showed me. It doesn't look like your website. It doesn't look like the portfolio. And I was like, no, it definitely doesn't.
Yeah.
Remember how he quoted you like double the amount of lights and how you didn't want to pay that? Like, and I think she had a fair point. It's like, well, as a designer, like, shouldn't you have some pushback there? It's like, absolutely, we should. I think that's our obligation to be like, listen, it's not going to look good. Why don't we try to spread it out? Let's just start with the front, or let's just start with the back, or this zone. So that's great advice.
Yeah. And with clients that I've done with that within the past, before you get kicked hard when you do that. And because it's such a bad feeling. You took this people's money, you feel like you overpromised them something. Meanwhile, you were just trying to like fit their budget and do, create lighting on their property. But when someone's like really disappointed that they spent $10,000 with you, it's not a good feeling. And so I don't like feeling that. I'd much rather, if I can, phase it out. And if we can't, maybe it's just not the right client and they don't appreciate the power of lighting as much as we do. So just find the right clients.
Do you know, I don't know if we talked about this. Can we talk customer acquisition costs? How much is all your marketing costing you as a percentage of revenue?
Yeah. So I was just running the numbers the other day. So far this year, we have 41 installs sold. And so it's not a tremendous, it's less than last year at this point. But we've 2x our sales. And so our customer acquisition costs actually went up because we have less clients that we've gotten, but our return on ad spend has went down.
Interesting.
And so our customer acquisition costs around $1,100. But our return on ad spend is like 30x. And so it's kind of, it's because we're picking and choosing the projects that we want to work with.
Well, a lot of people might hear go $1,100. You paid $1,100 for a client. It's like, absolutely. If your average job is 20,000, I mean, that's 5.5%. I would do that. Why would you not just continue to try to find like 1,100? Try to do that 10 times a day.
So last year, when I started doing all this marketing stuff with the Facebook and Google and whatnot, and I've been doing it prior, but when I really dialed it in, last year was the first time I set a marketing budget, and so I reverse engineered the entire thing. What was my cost to acquire a client last year? What was my conversion rate? And I put all these numbers into it, and I knew that if I spent an X number of dollars, and I'll give you the numbers, if I spent $40,000 on Facebook ads this year, that based on the numbers from last year and how it converted, it should generate $1.1 million in business. And so, that's just under 4%. And so and then we spaced it out through the months on where we saw Facebook ads converting better from last year. Because it's weird. Some months Facebook ads will convert better, and then some months Google ads will convert better. And so we had that data from last year, 12 months of data, look through it and be like, wow, in May, Google ads crushed it. And it was consistent with this year too. And then in the summer months, for whatever reason, it was, July and August last year, Facebook ads were killing it for us. And maybe that's because people who saw the ads kind of kick on in April, May, and June. It's a slower drip, right? You're catching them at the top of the funnel. And so it takes them a couple months to see that stuff and see your work and see you talking. And then they start calling you a couple months later. And so we allocated all the budgets out and where we needed to be, and then and just jumped up the ad spend to where we, the growth that we wanted.
That's hard. I mean, most people don't have that ability because they want to. It's like I was talking the other week about identity. Like you have to change who you are in order to expect a different result. You have to invest into marketing first before you get it. So you're projecting, saying, "Okay, we're going to spend this 40," not knowing if if there's going to be a return on it. And unfortunately, some people start their marketing or their investment in the wrong month. Doesn't mean it's wrong forever, but so they're like, drop $5,000 or whatever, and they're like, "Oh man, didn't work."
Right.
Have you had those months? You said you've had some months that were slower and didn't work as
Yeah.
well.
No, 100%. I mean, there's definitely months where it feels like, you look at all the data from all your ads, and people just don't seem to be interested, right? And you can't control that. I mean, once again, focus on the inputs, continue to make content, continue to educate the market, continue to do all the other things that I'm not talking about with referral partners and introducing and making connections in your community. Like all that stuff is important. Obviously, it's super important. But just focus on the inputs, and not everyone is doing this. Like you have to do more you have to do more of the hard things than what other people are willing to do. And so like it's boring, and sometimes it stinks. Like you're on a job site and you're just filming yourself walking around, and like the client comes like, what is this, what is this guy doing? And but it pays off. And sometimes in the beginning you might feel embarrassed doing it, talking to yourself on the camera. But if you have the mindset of like, I'm helping someone, like if I don't get this information out there, they might go call someone else that isn't going to provide them the service that we're going to provide them. And so we need to continue to just make sure that we're getting in front of as many people as we can that want a high end outdoor lighting system that's going to last them a long time. And so, don't be selfish. Like if you have a great company and you provide a great service, then you need to make sure everyone knows about it.
That's awesome. It is super embarrassing though, like doing the
It
selfie
is.
video. And when the first time I ever did it, and even now I'm on camera a lot, but even now it's like, stop watching me. Like when someone's watching you, it's just like, stop. Like I just want to go hide in a room somewhere and,
Yeah.
and film content. I don't want people watching this. Like you just
I
feel like
hate when I'm in the house and my wife will be on Instagram or Facebook and she's just scrolling. One of my ads comes on. I hear my voice
hear
like
it.
come out of
Oh,
nowhere.
the
It's the
worst.
worst.
Yeah.
The worst. I immediately like tell her to scroll off or I leave the room. Like I've heard that a million times. But I've had clients tell me like, I hear your voice in my sleep. Like that's how often your ads are popping up on my phone. I'm like,
That's
let's
perfect.
go. Like pull
That's
the trigger.
awesome. That's good.
So yeah, it's been big. It's been big. And I'd like to, I don't know, what your next question is, but I'd like to get into like how that helped me get to the Boston market. Because I think that's probably the biggest thing that we've done this year, and the scariest thing that we've done for sure.
Well, how did social media
Well, let me
help you
tell you.
get into the Boston market?
Well, let
Right
me
by
tell you.
Boston.
So Brian Toohey is the general manager up in Boston, and he saw me through a mutual friend on social media, someone I hadn't talked to in like 15 years. And this mutual friend, I guess, been following me, saw my stuff. And Brian from Boston and this guy are friendly through their wives. And just because I'm always on his phone, I was top of mind. And he was like, hey, Brian, I know you kind of want to get out of the electrical field and you want to niche down. You were talking about landscape lighting. You should talk to my classmate from high school about it because I see his stuff all the time and he seems to be killing it. And so Brian DM'd me on Instagram. We got on the phone. This is right after one of the Legends meetings. So, I'm all fired up to grow my business and do uncomfortable things. And we got on the phone and, he basically cold called me and we figured out a way to kind of work this thing out. And so it opens up a lot of opportunities, and I couldn't be more excited about the opportunities that we have in Boston. I think that very rarely does an opportunity come across your plate where it kind of like lands in your lap. This random guy calls you.
I know.
and then it works out, right? He is who he said he was. I am who I said I was to him,
Right.
right? Like we're both doing what we were supposed to do. It's like, hold on a
That's
second,
amazing.
this never works,
Yeah.
um, and so it's revitalized my passion. Every day I get to mentor him and help him grow this business up in Boston, and it's been super exciting. And I'm just really excited for what's to come of it.
I know. And when you think about it, like the odds of that starting maybe later, but it would not have started right now with Brian if it wasn't for you getting uncomfortable, putting yourself out there, building a relationship with this audience who you have no
Hmm.
idea. You probably didn't even know that your classmate was watching or something. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
zero idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
that's so cool. And Brian is like, he's like perfect because what's cool. Here's what's cool. Like you want to grow this empire. You want to do big things, but it is scary. Like it's like, man, what if it doesn't work and everything else? But what's interesting is from an outside perspective, I've seen you start this new location, and Brian's energy is 100% absolutely impacting yours and getting
yeah,
you fired up, even just for your main location there. So growth doesn't have to be a negative, scary thing like, oh man, I can't believe we got to do this. Like he's injecting all sorts of positive energy into the growth of the organization, which is something that's not going to show up on a P&L or balance sheet.
yep. No, I think that it's just proof that you have to surround yourself with people that are like-minded, that bring you up, that don't have negative energy, and who are inspired, right? That are hungry to like go make something of themselves and go build something. And those people are out there. And if you're in business long enough, I'm sure there's plenty of people on this podcast that are listening. Is like, man, I haven't met someone like that wants to come, work with me. Like, it's hard to find those people, but they're definitely out there. And the more you put yourself out there, the better chance they find you, the better chance they want to come work for you. And they see the business that you're building, they get excited about it. He was excited about the brand. He was excited about what we were building. He didn't know anything about Billy Coggins. He knew something about nightlife. And so that building that brand and putting yourself out there is so important because it'll help you recruit. Like recruiting is part of your marketing plan.
No, it truly is. It makes everything easier. Yeah, it's so cool to see. One thing you said too, which is interesting, it was your classmate who told Brian, "Yeah, you need to meet this guy. It seems like he's doing good." I
Hmm.
think that's really important because we can all have bad months, weeks, years, but if you'll stay consistent online, people don't have to know the dirty details.
Right.
Like it really does create this version of you where people are like, hey, I mean, he must be doing good because he's on my feed every single day.
Yeah.
Just because you show up, it doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter if you sucked on camera or if you wore shorts. Like they see you showing up every single day, which that equals success in their mind. So
Right.
no one ever was like, well, but show me your bottom line. Like they just
Hmm.
assume you were doing well. And there's just so many people that don't get that. Like you got to keep putting yourself out there.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like there's a toxic part of it too, right? Where you're always like comparing yourself to other people who online they look like they're living like these lavish lifestyles and are
Oh, yeah.
driving these amazing cars. Meanwhile, they rented them like 5 minutes earlier for a video, right? Um, there is a benefit to it as well, and so if you can use it to your advantage, definitely do it.
I know. I rented my Dodge Ram right before I made my video.
That's sick.
That's sick. It's stock, a
That
lot more value in stock these days.
thing have a Hemi?
Oh, of course. Duh. No, it doesn't. It's got the diesel. It's got the Cummins, baby.
Ooh, ooh, that's right. I remember that long ride to Bryce Canyon.
Yeah. Well, we're getting close to wrapping up. I still have a couple more for you.
Yeah.
What do you think's been your biggest challenge this year? What's spinning around in that mind where you're like, okay, this is the next thing. This is what I got to solve.
Yeah, it's getting to that point where I need leadership in the company, and so that's been a big focus of mine. And I'm trying to learn from. Like I said, I've made mistakes in the past, and you learn from those mistakes. You try to learn from those mistakes, and so I'm trying not to rush into it. Not hire the first person that I talk to that, tells me that they can do something for me and my company. But take my time, put feelers out there. Like I've been posting on social media. I've been talking to all my family and friends about it. Everyone knows that I'm looking to hire an operations manager, someone that can really help me run the day to day in Nightlight, create systems and processes for Nightlight Long Island and Nightlight Boston and future locations. And so I know that I need to get this thing completely locked in. We have good systems and processes. Like it runs pretty well, but I just know if it's going to scale to 2, 3, 4, 5 locations, it's going to have to be franchise level, right? Like this is plug and play. This is how you run this thing. And so I'm looking for someone that's done this before, and I can bring them into my organization, and they can teach me something.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, you're like classic, like gap in the gain. You got this gap of like where you want to be and like unsatisfied, still got to take over the world. But then when you measure backwards, like I've just been doing on this show, like thinking, man, my boy Billy's all grown up now. So it's awesome. Uh, I didn't even have this on the list, but you and Greg, we started Lighting Legends just a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whatever. You guys are the only ones that have been in it both times. It has to be, this is unverified, but it has to be the most expensive, like highest ticket investment in any type of landscape lighting group or training or anything like that. What prompted you to come back the second year?
Well, the first year after Legends is what pushed me to hire my office manager, right? And I saw, like, I wouldn't have done it without it. And like, I didn't go there with the intention of knowing that I was going to do this or anything. I didn't know that I really needed it, to be honest with you. But when you sit in a room with, 3 or 4 at that time, like 6 people, and everyone's talking about their dreams and aspirations and whatnot, like everyone in the else in the room had an office manager. You surround yourself with people who are doing things
Mm.
where you want to be instead of where you are or you're ahead of them. And so I surrounded myself with those people, and I realized, like, man, I'm missing the boat here, so I got to jump on this. And so that pushed me to do something I wasn't ready to do, and it worked out very favorably. And so coming around to this year, like, yeah, listen, it's never like going into this year, it's a no question. But going into last year, I was a little like hesitant because I was like, man, what if I don't have the money that I need in order to invest into this, you
Right.
know? And so, but we ended up having a really good year, and I was missing it so much. I felt like when I got out of Legends, because I joined like 3 months late this year, from August until December when I was out of it, I felt like this motivating factor that was behind me for the past year was suddenly like pulled from me. And that I'm not saying I can't self motivate, but when you're surrounded by a community of people that are trying to do the things that you're doing and you're having these high level conversations about it, there's nothing else that'll help you get where you want to go faster than being surrounded by people that are going the same direction as you. And so I just felt like I needed it. Like I missed it so much, and it was the best thing that I did this year for sure. It helped me spark Boston. It's helped me, design better. It's helped me, run a more efficient operation. So it's just a part of who I am at this point now, being surrounded by these types of people.
That's awesome, man. It's so cool because I know that the concept, I mean, these masterminds have been around forever in other industries. And, again, I'm new in the last 6 years to it, but it's just cool to be part of it too. I mean, I'm in the same room you guys are taking
Yeah.
notes and like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I get a ton of value out of it too. So,
Yeah, no, you do a great job, and last year was your first time running like a real mastermind event like that, like a Legends, like a close group.
yep.
And so, and you've gotten better, right? And next year you're going to be even better than you were last year. And so we're all kind of like, this is the first time you've done that, but it was an amazing year for the Legends group this year. And I'm sure everyone else in the group, the 2 other gentlemen in the group, Greg and Keith, would say the same thing. Like I feel like we're all firing on all cylinders.
I know. Well, it's crazy. I'm like, I kind of like, my mind's blown of like the stuff that you guys are doing. I'm like, that's what we want. I mean, it's
Yeah.
one,
You
but
told us to.
historically, huh?
I said, you told us to.
I know, but you like talk about stuff and then no one does it, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's what's cool is you guys keep challenging each other and we keep motivating each other. And it's like, hey, I did this. Like, hell yeah, let's go next gear, So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not that
No.
it's not that I didn't think it was gonna happen, but okay, maybe there's a little bit of doubt.
No, it feels good. It definitely feels good. And as a coach, I'm a coach myself in the wrestling world. Like, you want this isn't for your own ego when other people succeed. Like when someone wins a big wrestling match for me, it's not like, oh, I coached that kid. Like I'm like taking ownership of their success, right? It's just an unbelievable feeling to be a part of someone's story and watch them go from where they were in the beginning of the year to where they are now, and just knowing that you saw that progression, and then to watch it all pay off is the best thing in the world. So I'm envious of your job because you get to do that on a daily basis and make an income from it. I basically got to volunteer and do it, but it's super super gratifying. So and you work really hard at it. So good for you.
No, it's amazing. I mean, to be honest, I've never sold a few $100,000 project, so I don't even know what that's like because I've never done it. But I can tell you, like, just to have someone in your community that's doing it is freaking amazing. So
Yeah.
it's awesome. Last thing, and we'll wrap up. Let's talk about the future. Next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. When we get back on here, the next time you're on is gonna be 5 years from now. No.
Yeah. Good. It'll give me some time to make something happen.
Yeah. We'll have you on next year, or maybe sooner. But what do you anticipate? What do you see happening with Nightlight?
Well, we have a lot of discussions about this, and I really have this vision of growing this brand and expanding to other markets. I want to make sure that the Long Island territory is locked and loaded for success before I pull too much of my attention out of it. So Boston is really kind of our proof of concept. And if we can get Boston off the ground and get it to the point where Nightlight Long Island is right now, I don't feel like there's anything that'll stop us from expanding to 3, 4, 5, 6 locations, starting in the Northeast, and then going from there. And so I really love business. I love landscape lighting. And if I could do more of it in more locations and help other people, experience what I experience on a day-to-day basis, like watching Brian every single day, he's so thankful that he's in this industry and he doesn't even know anything about it yet. He's only been doing it for 3 months.
I know.
And every day he's like, this is the best decision of my life and I'm going to crush this for my family. And I'm going to, we're going to scale this thing to heights that we never thought were possible. I'm able to experience a little bit of what you're able to experience, like in the Legends group, and like being able to like kind of like mentor someone to be successful. And I love that. Like, I love being able to do that. And then, obviously, like, I've always had big dreams and visions of growing a big business. And so, and just helping as many people as I can. So that's the goal.
I love it, man. Well, thanks for letting me be a part of it. You deserve everything you've gotten so far. You've worked your tail off, stressing about things and worrying about things, some of which don't matter, but that's part of it. And you're doing such a great job, man. It's just so cool to be just this tiny part of it. I know you work like crazy. Your family, like everything, everyone's, their sacrifices are paying off. So thanks for actually implementing as a coach. As you know, it's like you tell someone something and they don't do it. It's like, okay, now what? Like, maybe we shouldn't work together. So,
no, we try. Not perfect, but every day you get better. That's it. 1% better.
All right, man. Well, thanks again for coming on the show. Thanks for taking the time out of your day, and really appreciate it, Billy.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, guys. Now just go do everything that Billy did, and you'll be fine.
No, not everything.
All the good stuff. All right. See everybody. Have a good week. We'll see you next week.